Drinking too much coffee at the moment. It makes you a bit weird, doesn't it? Got the jig built at the end of the last one. Sure you've seen it. Might need to buy a couple of extra bolts or something, but other than that, it's all done. So we can start getting some of the bits of actual third link together and start welding together. I think I'll see how it goes. I'll see how quickly it goes together, and then it might be split into one or two videos, and I'll just do one side. So I've got to let's just get straight into it. I need to cut something on the bandsaw. So the top tube, a couple of videos ago, we did the solid bar that goes through it. That gets pushed into a tube that's formed into an oval. So that's what we're going to start with. Then we'll cut the other 3 tubes to length, top and bottom, start tacking it on the jig. Still not done anything about that. Gets more dangerous, that thing. It's as close as that's getting. It's pretty close though. So I've got to turn this down a little bit because I couldn't get the tube in the right gauge and OD to replicate what they had on the proper car. So turn that down, then we'll squish it. So I've machined the bit I need machined to the tube that it should have been in the first place. I'm just going to cut that off and then we can press it. I have to leave it a little bit long because when you push press tools down something like this, it does balloon it a little bit at the bottom where all the load goes. So I'll leave a little bit extra and then I can cut off whichever end I like least. Right, for those unfamiliar, we want this as our main bar that holds the top arm, but we want to put that around it because that's going to be happier to weld to the rest of the metal that makes up the frames than that is. So I think that's why they press it over this. So to get it to fit, because it doesn't at the moment, that's just like baby basics, isn't it? Squaring around. I made this little tool. So what this is just the end profile of what we want it to end up with, and then I've turned a taper on it so it can kind of get rammed into there. There we go, this is cut to length. I popped it on the lathe again as well. Last bit of turning, hopefully, for a while. It's just so it's nice and flat both ends. Now I've got to push through the main bar. I did put a slight fillet chamfery vibe on there just because, you know, not animals. This has to be completely dry because it's welded each end. I can't risk welds getting contaminated by putting grease in there or anything, so she's dry as a nun. She's through. You can see where it drags a little bit of metal up. So I tried to fill at the edges, but can only do so much. Anyway, that gets welded, so it's all good. Strong. Shall I get down here? Or shall I do a kind of Art Attack vibes? Was it Art Attack? What was that other one? Zap. Was it Zap with the hands? Might be Zap with the hands. let's do that, and then I don't have to work my back, because I'm not getting any fitter at the moment. Right, these are the 3 tubes that go up in our jig. So, jig from last video, these are the 3 tubes. Put up a quick picture, just as a reminder of what the Gr.A car third links look like. And you can see the 3 main tubes are what kind of make up the third link. So, I had these bent because I haven't got a bender. They're not mandrel bent, so the outside of the bend is going to be slightly tighter than it should be, because it shrinks in, right? But the inside is going to be correct. So all of these are the same. They're all 3-inch CLR, centerline radius, right? But all the bends are in different places relative to where the end of the tube should be. Both ends of each tube have been left long because I asked for them to do that, so I can make sure that I cut it correctly. Because a lot of the time with tube bending, I guess unless you pay huge money, it's not going to be massively accurate. So to put it into perspective, these tubes, I got 2 sets done and it cost me 500 quid. I got a quote off someone to do multi-CLR, absolutely spot-on bending for this, and they quoted me 20 grand. So you have to be realistic with some of this stuff, right? So what I've got to do is the first job we've got to do is to cut these to the right length, and I'm going to try and I'll probably do all 6, so I can just do 1 set. Which sounds really easy, right? You just look at where the end of the bend is and then you measure down, but I mean, it's not that easy to figure out where the end of the bend is. So first thing I did was like, maybe I'll draw on a bit of paper, try and mark the end. But you know, my drawings are quite accurate, and this didn't seem that accurate. And then I remembered I got that 3D printer that I've been using for jigs. So I made a little CLR end point measuring jig thingy. This fits all 3 different bends, so although they're the same centerline radius, the bends are longer on some than they are on others. So this fits all 3, you stay tight against the edge, and then it gives me a lip to put a ruler against so I can measure stuff. For example, she slots in there lovely. I can put my ruler on there once this little tape's out of the way. So I could put my ruler on there and see that that's 207. I mean 207.2 if we want to bullshit and pretend you can measure accurately with a ruler. But you get my point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure all of these, I'm going to write how long they are on each one, and then I'm going to go over to the mill to cut them because I still haven't fully dialed in my bandsaw yet. There you go, it's better. I'm sure there's quicker ways to do this, but it's nice and accurate, isn't it? There we go, both sides cut at the bottom. Oh, right. Am I still enjoying this? Shall I have a break? Let's build one side into here, and then I can mark the tops for cutting, and we'll see what that looks like. And as if by magic, here we go. I've assembled it all into the jig. This is the left hand side. I've checked it square, so these are all positioned. These are nice and upright, and then I've gone ahead and, well, A-bomb. Oh, so I'm gonna go ahead and so I've marked here. Hopefully you can see that a little bit. Let me try and. Hopefully you can see that slightly, but I've marked in here where to scallop. I'm not sure how close to the pressed thing these are going to be anymore. But the corners will be correct actually. Might just need a little bit more tickling on the tubes, but it's going to get us really close, and we can just check it for squareness underneath. So we'll pull these out now, we'll profile them, and then we'll see if we need to take anything else off. Maybe I'll just film it all in one hit wonder. Yeah, as you can see from the old me running around, it's quite a lot of work to profile these. Definitely got us closer, the old 3D thing, but it was quite a lot of work. But it is what it is, that's just life, isn't it? I tacked them lightly so I could do the plate work for this. I just cut it out cardboard and then sent it off so I could get, well, I put it in CAD and then got it laser cut. Anyway, I think I'm going to weld these one at a time so I can get to the inside a little bit easier. So I'll weld the middle one first, then I'll weld the outside ones. It's a bit boring showing TIG welding, so I don't know, we'll see. I wonder what will come out in the edit. How exciting. I made this, I don't know if you can see that. It's a little, so it screws into the back and it means I can back purge all these tubes when I weld them. Clever stuff, huh? Not as stupid as you look. Is that right, everyone? I'm not a welder. I weld. I'm a hobbyist. This is all a hobby. But that looks okay, doesn't it? I'm not going to tell you what filler it is. I'm not going to tell you what metal it is. So these three tubes are all done, purged, welded at the top. Now it has, you have to do it in a certain order. We have to do the infill panels, which go here and here. This is a bit irritating actually, because the steel that they have in Japan in the 90s, I couldn't get in the gauge that I need for this, and I don't want to be making that thinner, so it's going to be about 80 grams heavier than it should be, but I mean, arguably it's probably about twice as heavy as it could have been this. It's quite confusing actually, because, anyway, I won't go on about that. So I said I tacked it earlier, and I tacked it and then I cut out these cardboard pieces that go here. My cereal box was only that long, so I did it for blah, and then I was like, oh, I'll add whatnot to the end of that. I put them into CAD, sent them off to the laser cutters. They said, oh, we haven't got any metal that thin. So I got this metal, and I've just put a little chamfer on the bottom of there, and that will, which one's this? T2, T3 out. Yeah, so it's still a little bit warm, I've only just done it. So, hopefully, I can tack this starting at the bottom. I'll go tack, tack, tacker, and then that will roll up exactly where it needs to be. What do you reckon the chances are of this happening then? Slim. Good, huh? There we go, so there's all the infill panels. All done, front and back. Next job, I've got a few jobs, haven't I, coming up? Got a few jobs. I've got to seam weld this. I'm going to go all mental, I think, and do everything in the same direction as them. Maybe I'll try and weld as badly as them as well. That'll be the excuse. Yeah, cool. Anyway, what's next? What's next? Well, ending the video soon, because it's getting quite long, I think. I've got to seam weld these. It's got 2 cross tubes that go on that I need to cut. Printing a jig for those at the moment. And then it's just bending and welding all the other bits on. So I think I'll call it quits, and we'll stop this one here, and then in the next one we'll finish this, and it'll all be done off the jig. Exciting stuff. Hope you enjoyed it.